Alright, guys, so is gaming a sport? Does it really matter? It really doesn't, but because a lot of people, including a professional skier after the X Games was held, likes to criticize us and likes to say, oh, gaming isn't a sport, you guys should never have been at the X Games, you shouldn't be broadcasted on national television on ESPN, you shouldn't have been given visas by the government of the United States, blah, 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 blah. So when somebody, comes at us and says that what we're doing isn't a sport at all, I mean, like I said, it doesn't matter if we're a sport or not, because what matters is what we're doing, that we're the fastest growing industry in the whole entire world. That's what matters. But it matters to defend ourselves. So when somebody says that gaming isn't a sport, I'm going to defend it because it is a sport. Just to let you know, if you guys say that it isn't a sport, you're just wrong right on the spot. It has been proven time and time again, but I'm going to go over it once again. So, what is the definition of a sport? I will just say it right now. An activity involving physical exertion and skill in which an individual or team competes against another or others for entertainment. So nobody disregards that, gaming takes skill and individual skill, and nobody disregards that teams don't compete against another team or whatever competitively. The thing that people are arguing is that it doesn't take physical exertion. Well, of course, sports like football and baseball and soccer and basketball take an enormous amount of physical exertion. Baseball, not so much, but still, the outfielder, you get the point. But the thing is that video gaming actually does take some sort of physical exertion. People actually do sweat while they game. If I'm just casually gaming, I'm not going to sweat. If I'm actually into it, I sweat. Now, I think, why is that? I'm not moving more than I was when I was casually gaming. I'm just sitting in my chair, gaming. The thing that's moving the most is my hands and my thumbs and my brain. And I'm thinking, well, maybe it's my brain moving a lot, which makes me sweat. To this day, I'm not too sure why I sweat. I'm not obese or anything like that. I'm not skinny either, but I'm not obese, so I'm not sweating because I'm fat. There's a lot of people that are skinny, and I've had friends over, and we're all sweating and stuff, and my friends aren't fat at all. They're pretty in good shape, and it's because we're so into it that we're sweating, and sweating, we're burning calories. So, everything that I talk about here, I have an article for, pretty much everything that I talk about here. So I'm going to link everything in the description below, so don't think that I'm not going to source what I say. There was a study done on children and teenagers and all that, and they gamed on stationary games, like, just games where you sit down, and they tested them on games like, Wii Sports, or, active games where you have to stand up and move around, like Dance Central and all that stuff. When you play a stationary game for a few hours, you burn 81 calories, and then when you just play Wii Sports or an active game where you have to move around a lot, you burn about 281 calories, and that equivalated to about 3.5 miles an hour. And a lot of people, that's not too much. Anybody can do that, people have said, but the point is that it's physical exertion. So saying that we don't meet the definition of what a sport is completely inaccurate, since there is physical exertion. In the definition, there is no specific amount of physical exertion that you have to put out in order to be a sport. And people say that, oh, just because you're on ESPN, you're not a sport. Well, let's take a look at what does ESPN stand for? Entertainment and Sports Programming Network. So it's specifically a sports programming network. So to say that gaming is not a sport, even though it's on a sporting network, the biggest network that is designed specifically for sports programming and nothing else, I mean, it's kind of ignorant to say. I mean, I don't think too many people know the definition of ESPN, what it is, and what it stands for. I mean, have you ever seen anything other than sports being broadcasted on ESPN? I haven't. I've been watching ESPN practically since I've been born, and I've never even seen anything other than something that involves sports, being broadcasted on there. Poker, I think everybody can agree that out of everything, poker, doesn't take physical exertion at all, but it is considered a sport. I consider it a sport because, in my definition, it does not involve physical exertion. You shouldn't define sports as physical exertion. What I define sporting is as something that has a foundation around it. It has a platform, a structure as well, where they're doing tournaments and they're raising money for charities and just the whole shebang of what it means to be a sport, having a culture around it, having fans. We've got fans, we've got culture. We've raised millions and millions of dollars for charities. I mean, it is crazy how much money gaming has raised because there's so many people around it. I mean, you'll go watch a charity event on Twitch.tv, it'll have over 100,000 viewers just concurrently watching, donating constantly. It's crazy. But, I mean, there's nothing more to really say. It is a sport, whether you like it or not. If you don't think it is, you're just wrong right on the spot since we've proved it. Universities are now giving scholarships to professional video game players to come into their school because they see it as an athletic, something that should be in their athletic course, in their athletic curriculum, Your League of Legends players, for the most part, that's what I talk. League of Legends players have gotten the visas. I'm not sure if Dota 2 players have gotten visas or not, but I know League of Legends players. League of Legends is the biggest esport right now. It has the most money around it and stuff like that. Riot is doing an amazing job just pumping money into it and getting it back and all that stuff. Just in the circle, recycling it. They're doing an amazing job. I mean, stadiums, have been, holding thousands and thousands of people for these tournaments. I mean, in South Korea, they have 2 TV channels just for StarCraft 2. And in South Korea, they have huge stadiums just for these tournaments. In this one picture where a professional basketball player who his name is, it skips me for a second there, his name is Gordon Hayward. He is a professional basketball player. He writes this article talking about how he grew up playing video games, how he actually competed in a Halo tournament while he was still being a professional basketball player. He had to get permission from his coach, and his coach said yeah and all that stuff. But he defends gaming, and he's just saying how it's so ridiculous how we're being ridiculed because we sit in the chair and we game, and then they just don't know everything that goes into it. They think that we're just sitting on our ass, and no, we're not sitting on our ass. A lot of people are, but we're working. We're making YouTube content, we're streaming, we're scrimming, and actually gaming, if you are, Now, this is a touchy subject because not everybody fits this category, but if you are, like me, a communicator, an objective player, a support player, somebody that's constantly talking in the game, and you're playing 11-game series, that works out your respiratory system pretty goddamn good. And out of everything, that's moving around, your brain is moving around more than anything. So, if you should give physical exertion to anything, it should be your brain because, just hook somebody up, hook somebody up and check out their brain activity while they're gaming, and you'll see how crazy it is. But in this one picture that Gordon Hayward provides, it is a $16 million tournament. This is not in Korea or Sweden, but it's in Seattle. And it's a sold-out stadium in Seattle, just full of people watching teams compete for, I'm not sure what the game is here. It doesn't really show for League of Legends or Counter-Strike or something. But you can just see the amount of people that are in it, the big stadium stage and stuff like that. When you compare it to a football stadium, it's not that much smaller when you think about it. We're right next to the NFL, we're right next to the NHL and baseball and all that stuff, and to say that we don't deserve the title as a sport is just very ignorant, and I think a lot of people just say that just because they don't want to accept us for whatever reason. We don't do anything wrong. We hold ourselves to a professional standard. Do we have the the youngest generation in our sport? Yes, of course we do. We've got professional video game players that are minors, which isn't possible in any other sport, since you do have to be at least 18 years old, and in football most of the people when they start they're like 22 because they have to finish college and stuff like that. But to say video gaming isn't a sport is just very ignorant and just very wrong because we have all the proof right here. And like I said before, it doesn't matter, but when somebody says that we aren't a sport, I have to step up and I have to defend gaming because I firmly believe that it is a sport. Because we have all of the right things. We have the structures, we have the charity, we have everything. A culture, fans. Kids are growing up today with, they don't know what a time is where they didn't have gaming in their lives. I started when I was 4 years old in 1996 gaming. And it's just crazy in the couple decades how it's just all changed and it's just evolved faster than anything, and it's still growing, $1 billion industry in esports, in the esports industry and the video game industry, and we're just growing. And people say chess isn't a sport and poker isn't a sport, and you just gotta look at stop looking at the physical exertion part of it and start looking at everything else, and you'll see that it actually is a sport. But yeah, I have all these articles. I'm going to link in the description below to source what I'm talking about, so you can look at it for yourself. That's going to do it for today's video, guys. If you enjoyed it, leave a like, comment down below, and subscribe for more videos coming soon. I'm going to be streaming today. I'm still trying to figure out my audio problem. I know. There's no audio when I stream. I don't know what to do, guys. I've uninstalled XSplit, I've reinstalled it, I've rebooted my computer. Not only have I rebooted my computer, but I've actually reset it back to its factory settings. I've done everything that you possibly could. I've updated the driver. I don't know what else to do. I've made sure that my default device is there and everything, and the only thing out of every program that I have in my computer that doesn't play audio is XSplit. It's the only thing. So something's up with XSplit. I don't know. It was playing fine a week ago, but I hope that it'll still be an entertaining stream. I've had about 1 out of like 20 people complain, so hopefully people aren't going to be too upset that there's no audio. But unfortunately, Open Broadcaster does not work on my Alienware. I don't know why, but it just doesn't. But hopefully, somehow, some magical way, I can figure out how to get audio back in XSplit. I think I'm going to send a support ticket to XSplit and see if they know what's up. They couldn't help me before, but hopefully they can help me now, because they're my last hope. Anyways, guys, I'll catch you guys in the stream. I'm going to be playing Far Cry Primal, Plants vs. Zombies 2. I'm off for the next 2.5 days, so I'm going to be gaming my ass off, playing a lot of Halo and all that stuff. I'll catch you guys in the stream, and I hope you guys have a fantastic day, and keep it real.